Hello everyone and welcome back to Just Games in Rochester, New York, where we're entering the top 4 for our store champs. This is Tim here.
And I'm Chris.
And we've got the number 2 and 3 seeds coming out of Swiss here. On the left, it's Sean, who's a local we all know and love. And then Josh on the right from the Binghamton area. One of 3 guys that came out from there, all very strong players. And we've got the old classic here.
Oh man, at least the classic for this season.
Yes.
Whizzard ETF.
Yeah.
So, if I'm sitting on the left side of the table, if I'm playing ETF, big things that I'm looking for are basically ice. Ice to protect my remote so I could get the econ engine going. Ice to protect the centrals, but we all know how weak it is and single taxing it is against Whizzard. But specifically, Turing is very strong in this matchup on a central.
Yep.
So I'm digging for that.
Yep. You want Turings, you want your architects if you've got them.
Yeah.
And then you want to just get money up and rolling so that you can make the big threatening remote at some point. And that's a pretty ideal start right there. 2 ice, hedge fund. Things are looking up.
Yeah. On the flip side, if I'm playing Whizzard in this matchup, I'm thinking more in terms of getting my econ off the bat early because it's probably going to be a long haul.
Yes.
And as ETF is building the remote, trying to continuously knock it down.
Exactly.
Because as soon as they get a strong enough remote, it's done.
Yeah.
But you have the
Oh, and there's Architect.
right off the bat.
Blind runs into Architect.
So he is playing them. Now we know.
Yep.
But the unfortunate thing is, if there is an agenda on top, what's he going to do with it?
Yeah, I mean, unless he has ice in hand, he does have some money. So he could potentially, even in worst case scenario, so it looks like we've got a Victor in there. I saw an Adonis. So he takes an ice. So there's likely not an agenda on the top there.
Makes sense, makes sense. Yeah, that's right. And if he has anything in hand, he's not got nothing in archive, so...
Yeah, it looks
Did he
like,
catch what he threw down?
I think that was an Eve campaign that went in there.
Okay. Takes the access anyway. Why not? Get the sucker. As well.
Has that lovely alt art sucker that I'm so jealous of. And yeah, just pressuring since he's got him rezzing ice.
Makes sense.
You've already hit 1 architect. The second architect has certainly a potential. And would well, it won't lose you agenda points or lose you the game. I mean, the acceleration is just so fantastic.
Whole free turn for Sean.
Yeah.
That's 4 clicks and $1.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, and pressuring all of the remotes, saying, I don't think you can res all of these. And he is Whizzard, so even though he sees Eve, at this point, because you're in the remote, Sean can't res it on his next turn, but eventually he'll be able to, and that's a lot of money.
Now it's interesting. Sean chose to res the HQ ice. He probably knew that Josh was going to that remote later. To me, that's a signal that there's something good in there.
Yeah, so it's either that there's something there, or he's worried about data sucker, but archives is open, so that kind of rules that out.
I mean, I'm having a really hard time seeing his hand.
Yeah, he's holding it tight to the vest there. Oh yeah, his money is just rolling though. So
okay.
And yeah, Whizzard hasn't hit wild side, and he's actually fairly low on money. So Sean has some time here. So he had at this point. Okay, so we see a little bit of money coming in. Always feels terrible not to be able to play that with career fair.
Yeah, it's a drag.
Yeah,
it's tough. I mean, Whizzard is tough because once you get to the end game, you're cruising. But in the early game, there's so many things you want to be doing.
Yes, exactly. You need a fair bit of money. You want wild side. You usually only have 2 Faust in there, and you need to get to those.
It's tricky. It takes a lot of setup.
Yes. And so that's why I think NEH Fast Advance has emerged as one of the counters to it, is that while they're doing this setup, you score a ton of agendas.
Yeah.
But then your late game is extremely fragile.
Really quite fragile. Yeah. As I saw on this day.
Yes. Okay, so the super remote is starting here. 3 things installed there. We don't know what any of them are.
I'm going to go ahead and guess 1 is a Breaker Bay.
Yes. Oh, Breaker Bay. What a card.
All right.
Oh, the Parasite comes down.
So hits Archives for the token, of course, blowing up the wall of static.
And that's an Adonis.
Oh, no.
The only card.
He had no money going into that.
Yeah, Whizzard, man.
It's all right. Sean's ready.
Breaker Bay, Adonis. And he's back.
So good.
Yeah, Breaker Bay is one of those cards. It just put ETF like right up over the top.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that, I mean, the ETF like Glacier style had been around forever, but it never felt like it was getting out of hand. It was always like, okay, there's ways to play around this. Everything's expensive.
It's out of hand.
Yes.
We've hit it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, this is a really interesting matchup. It's very back and forth with Whizzard and ETF.
Yes.
I never feel... Whizzard, I feel, really has the upper hand in a lot of matchups, and this one I think is pretty even-keeled. Josh is wise to be running early in his turn.
Yes.
Not only to click through the bioroids, but if you hit something like a wall of static, just bounce and then kill it right away. You don't want to be in a position where you're breaking things more than once.
Yeah, that is these kind of new Anarch decks do play vastly different from how you're used to playing Netrunner. It's not gain money, play breakers, run. It's destroy everything as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and force the corp to make tough decisions.
Yes.
Here's the deal. If I'm Sean, Architect's theoretically safe except against Mimic, but HQ has been shown to be vulnerable. He's trying to hide something in there. If I got ice, I throw it in front of HQ right now. Otherwise, what he's got right there is going to be gone next time.
Yeah, exactly. We know there's a parasite there. There's likely a clone chip coming. Okay, so Jackson is there, so going to clean the hand out.
Yeah, between the parasite on deck and also even just if he's got cutlery in hand, click through it, blow it up.
Yeah, and that is the danger of playing the victors instead of something like an Enigma or...
All right, and I mean, Sean does just that. He throws ice in front of there.
Right.
So now with Josh, he has to either put more pressure on HQ trying to get him to res it, or he just can't get to it.
Yeah, and it looks like even though he got Jackson on the table, he wasn't able to get anything out of hand, really. So this gives Josh an easy opportunity to go in and trash Jackson.
For sure. I have a hunch, I mean, clearing out the hand would have been nice, but I have a hunch he was really digging for some ice.
Yeah, that could be too. That Jackson isn't always a safety valve. He also just draws you cards sometimes.
He's also just good.
He's just a good card. And yeah, this is Sean starting to hit kind of that money threshold where once he draws into some ice, he's going to be able to make things very difficult for Whizzard. But again, the Whizzard economy engine is up. All he's looking for at this point, he really wants Wildside to draw into. He has the money to play things.
And he's building up the remote.
Building, and I'm guessing that it's probably Ash, I would imagine, down there under the Breaker Bay.
It's likely. Or a Caprice if he's got one in there.
Yep. After the most wanted list, I think most of these have shifted to having a single Caprice in there. And some have actually taken Caprice out entirely because you really want the Elis and Architects, and Ash usually does the trick.
Yeah. Taking them out entirely, that's just sad.
Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do, I guess.
Yeah, I still run one Caprice in my Engineering the Future.
It's nice.
Yeah, and it makes it, because if you run into someone that shockingly isn't playing Anarch, you'll eventually get to this point where they're just going to have enough money to get into your remote all the time, or when they need to. And so having something that isn't a guaranteed access with Caprice is really nice.
For sure. All right, we got more in the remote. I mean, he's got to be going for the score here.
Yeah, I would imagine so, because we haven't seen Faust, we haven't seen David. I don't think there's any way he can get through that much ice without Wildside powering something big and an advancement too.
So what do you think it is?
So my guess, kind of in former days, you would see the advancement, you think, oh, that's NAPD. But here, I think it's likely he's either single advanced and ABT, and he's going to fire it and maybe has Jackson in hand, or he just wants to score out fast while he's at this advantageous state. But here come Faust and David.
Well, here we go. David takes care of the turn, no problem. Ooh.
Okay, so it looks like he's using the Victor 1s instead of Enigmas, which is higher strength. It has subs you have to care about.
I mean, I like that play.
Yeah.
But Josh is just going to break right through.
Okay, so
it's the Eli.
So it
no
looks
res
like
in the root, so it's probably an Ash down there.
Yep. And this is 3 cards, I think, to Faust.
It is 3 cards.
Yeah.
And he only has 1 sucker token. However, he doesn't have enough clicks.
Yeah, so it bounces off that.
Yeah,
he would have to spend out all of his money. Double advance. And it is a beta test. How big are the cojones? He's doing it! He's firing. I like this.
Oh,
this warms my heart. And he's pulling things down, which is usually a bad sign for the runner.
You got to do it.
Oh, it actually, it looks like, 2 ice and a Jackson. So that's
a good pull.
I take a dead Jackson for 2 ice any day of the week.
Oh, man. Especially against this Whizzard deck.
So where are you putting the ice?
You got to throw something on R&D.
Yes,
Once he gets the Mimic, it's toast.
Yeah.
You know he's running probably 2 medium. Ooh, so that's interesting with the Turing.
Mm-hmm.
I would have actually put those in the other order.
Yeah, because the Turing would close out R&D, and Eli is pretty taxing for Faust.
Yeah.
And double Eli's.
Yeah, he could get through with the 2 David counters he has now. Mm-hmm. And if he got spooned in hand, gone. Done.
Exactly, yeah. Of course and then he throws something else in there. And so man, this is the reason I love playing ETF, is you can just keep cramming stuff into the remote. Note, you don't care, you're ahead on points. Come and get it, man. Okay, so we see him running archives to get data sucker counters. And this is another nice thing, though, with the Victors, is that they're strength 3 instead of 2, like Enigma. And so if you're going to parasite them down, which is what you're usually looking to do eventually, it's another counter to do that.
It's true. And if you are hard breaking them with Faust, extra card for boost, or a token.
Yep.
Yeah, it does make sense. Because especially you don't want to be spending clicks on such a low priority ice.
Right.
Obviously, you do care about those subs, but, you know, it's a drag.
It's a drag, man. All right, so Sean is doing some thinking.
What is happening?
Sean is very, very careful, meticulous player. Thinks through his thought, thinks through everything.
You're right about that.
Yes. I don't think it's an accident that he ends up near the top of the standings all the time.
Whenever I have a practice game with Sean, they tend to go for 80 minutes, 90 minutes.
Exactly. Which, like usually when we're testing decks, you kind of go through like 2 phases. It's like the figure out the matchup phase, where this can take as long as it needs to, and then it's like, all right, we need to figure out how to do this quickly. Let's grind these things out. Ooh, throws 2 advancements on there. So do you think that's global food, or is he just priming something else to score next turn?
That's a good question. Ideally, it's not global food.
Right.
Against Whizzard, he throws down the turntable and it negates your global food. You really want to save that for the end.
That is true.
I mean, it could be another ABT, especially if it's a Jackson in hand.
So let's see. If he were to run that on click 1...
I mean, he could get in.
He can get in, yeah. I think he's got... Well, would he have enough cards on Faust? Because he has to break something with Faust. And it's at minimum... He has data suckers, so he would be 2 cards somewhere. Both of the David counters. And then click through the other thing.
It's very possible. And even if that is an Ash in the route, on the Breaker Bay, Sean only has $5.
Yeah.
So either he trashes the Ash, or he could even pay off the Trace, most likely.
Yeah.
Sean's not going to go broke on this. I think running the remote is correct here. But what does he do? Oh, he's taking
he takes some money and then runs the remote click 2. This leaves him enough clicks to go through something.
That's correct. Because now he can easily beat any Trace. Sean probably won't even pump it.
Yep. So bring the Victor down to strength 2, and then this will be 2 cards. And then likely click the Eli. Let's see. Okay, yep. Clicking through the Eli. And will we see a res on the upgrade? It is Ash. Okay. Well. Yeah, you might as well. It's free.
It's free. Make him pay.
And does he? And boosting at this point doesn't make any sense really. He's got so much money. Yeah. Unless that's no. I guess even if that is an NAPD and he spends all of his money, he can still steal.
Yeah. I've seen NAPD show up as a one of in some ETF.
Okay, that was the food.
It is the global food.
Okay.
All right. Not at the end of the world for Sean here.
Yep.
And Whizzard clears it out. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Gotta do it. So this is interesting. I mean...
So he has forced him to use pretty much everything to clear that remote.
It's true. However...
Oh, and we saw the archive memories for, I think, was that a Breaker Bay or the Ash that he grabbed back? It was pretty quick.
Whatever it is, I'm sure the threw down was the other.
Yeah.
It might be the Ash, But the thing is, if Josh has a David in hand, he goes right back.
Yeah, true.
No problem.
He can do the exact same thing. He still has the Data Sucker.
And he even still has money on the Liberated. He could do the exact
Yeah.
same play he did last turn.
Okay, so it looks like he's choosing not to. If he had... Okay, so instead parasiting onto HQ, overwriting David, which will let him clone chip it back. And then starting to, rebuild.
Going for money.
Okay, that was... He did get the Breaker Bay and then had Adonis. So Sean also building back up the economy. They both had a lot of action going there for a little bit. And now this is the lull. Okay.
So, here's the thing. I feel like Josh has the upper hand here. Sean's remote is fairly weak, at least to another David drop.
Another David, yes.
And a David plus Spoon will be devastating.
Yeah.
Because that David could get in twice then. So, what are you digging for? And Ash isn't crazy good here.
Yeah, because he's building back up the econ on the runner side. And so, yeah, you really want Caprice, I think.
Yeah, probably.
And if you could get Caprice and Ash, then that's just gravy.
Yeah.
But I think, you really want Caprice because it takes Josh quite a bit to get into that remote. Even though he can get in, assuming he has either Clone Chip or David, it takes a whole turn, 2 cards, and a fair bit of money. So since it's only 2-2, I think you're okay letting the Adonis tick down for a bit and then just throwing something in there. If he goes and steals it, fine. If you score it, fine.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, maybe Sean shifts his attention to R&D. Because at a certain point in this matchup, Whizzard's just going to throw down the medium, and that's the win.
The medium is coming. Eli's going to get knifed.
Yeah, no questions about that.
Yeah, and then I'm assuming a Mimic will come down at some point.
I would imagine so.
Yeah. Adonis continues to tick, and I don't think Sean has Biotic Labors in this deck. So he will eventually have to overwrite Adonis, score everything through the remote. And man, you think about, like, if you didn't have David Faust, how expensive this remote would be to get through.
Oh, it's nuts.
To break through 2 Turings, a Victor, and an Eli.
Well, what if you're playing Study Guide?
Then you just waltz on
Then
through.
it's no problem. Or if you're Kit with Surfer, it's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, that's just where the meta is right now. Ice has a much different role than it used to have.
Yes.
It is largely a one-time tax.
Yeah. It's how many cards is this going to cost me? And actually, Ice that's starting to punish the face check is coming back a little bit because a lot of the strategy with this Wizard deck is to just face check into things and assume that you can break them with Faust and then Cutlery or Parasite them. And so if you have something that's, threatening that can actually stick a face check, that's starting to see a little more play. We're starting to see Kamainu and that kind of thing come back a little bit.
Definitely. So Sean looks like he's setting up to throw a little more ice in front of that remote. I mean, that seems like the right play to me. He's going to have to score out from it. Relatively speaking, it's not super safe.
Yeah, and it looks like it's a Vikram he's holding in hand, which is would be fantastic here because that's too many David counters. Yeah,
that's a brutal card against Whizzard.
Yes.
If you're playing ETF, put Vikrams in there.
Yes. And that's what I think at this tournament, I was playing a similar deck to Sean, but I don't think I had Vikram in because at this point, Ghoda had just come out. And so I was like, I haven't tested this. It's not proven yet. I'm a wimp.
It has been proven.
It has been proven. It is fantastic.
I mean, it's good and bad. Of course, you could click through it. And the trace start at what, 4?
Yeah, they're at 4. So if you're paying someone with Link and money, then they're not...
Yeah, even Whizzard. I think Whizzard, the strategy is to run it. If they res it, try and pay the traces and then blow it up with Cutlery and clicks.
Yeah.
So it's not invincible. It's a pain.
Yeah, and it's something they have to care about no matter, what the board state is.
Yeah, brain damage is rough for Whizzard.
Yes.
Really, really rough.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like Sean is... So I'm wondering if he just drew an agenda because he seems to be considering his hand here, looking at the remote. So we know that's a Vikram up top, a couple Turings. He has clone chips, so that means David can't come back. So he could theoretically run the remote, click 1, click through Vikram, get David, break the Turings, and then you'd have to have enough cards to... And he has wild side. Oh, no, so he doesn't have... He has wild side, so he doesn't have the clicks.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be able to use the program, so you have to break Vikram.
If he has a David
in hand and then clone chip the other one.
I guess that works, but then does he have enough cards left for the other two?
Yeah, because then you run out of clicks where you have to... Yeah, because if you play David, you have to... Okay, so slam it in. So overwriting the Adonis, so that's... Yeah, okay, it's an agenda, yeah.
Yeah. And presumably that's an Ash there. Now he has the upper hand on money.
Yeah, that's true.
This is the window.
That's true. Yeah, this is what we call a scoring window in the business.
Yeah. So if I'm Josh, I say, fine.
Yep.
I'm go over to R&D.
Exactly.
Or I go to HQ, make you res these things. Mm-hmm. Sean might have an agenda floating in hand.
Yeah.
He hasn't really had much Jackson play.
That's true. And you end up running, I think it's, 10 agendas in this? No, 9 agendas you end up running in here. So, I mean, it's not like a super sparse agenda deck. So things are going to end up floating somewhere. But yeah, I think certainly the play here, usually when you see a remote this big, is you go somewhere else. So...
Great. Does he have a Mimic in Archives?
I think he's doing it the hard way with Faust.
Oh, damn.
Data Sucker, tip pitch 2 cards. Oh, and it's a steal.
Wow.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker.
Super worth it.
Because usually you don't want to do that until you've got, a medium to back it up, or we'll be doing it soon, but...
I mean, in this situation, honestly, blowing up that Eli puts so much pressure.
Right.
It makes Sean, if I were Sean, consider not scoring out.
Mm-hmm. So, and he's firing the ABT again.
Woo-hoo.
When he's on 4 point, this is ballsy.
This is very risky.
Oh, but he hits it.
But it's okay.
Hits it each, okay, but
come on,
2
Sean.
misses, though.
I didn't catch what they were. Josh has got to go check.
Yeah,
this.
you have to go check.
Well, he has a click left.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
David Jackson in hand. Does he have
if he has
any
Jackson
play?
in hand, he's already played 1 Archive Memories. So if he has another one, he could pull something back.
An agenda back?
Yes. I think we did see Jackson. It looks like he's got another agenda in hand. So he's maybe considering just, throwing the agenda in the remote and saying, I'm going to get there faster than you can.
I mean, it is very tough for Josh to get into that remote right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, looks like he's going for it. Trusting the ice.
The heart of the cards.
Heart of the cards.
Yeah, that ice in front of R&D is key here.
Yeah, that's big.
If he didn't hit that, he'd be in a very, very rough position.
Because without Mimic on the table, Ichi is a lot of cards to Faust, or a lot of clicks, both of which are becoming precious at this point in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure Josh has got the levy coming up, but that's a bit of a hit in this deck.
Yeah.
5 credits. He's hitting the point where he's running a little skim on money.
Okay, so there were neither of those were agendas.
CVS?
Is there CVS there? That would be clutch.
No luck.
No such luck.
All right. I mean, good check, Josh. You got to do that.
Yeah. And so he could keep running there. Oh, and we see...
Yes.
Yep, here comes the Forked. And this is going to be a bunch of cards, but...
Worth it.
Totally worth it.
I mean, the downside of ABT, Whizzard sees exactly what...
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you know
what to do.
Yeah. You know exactly which of the events you need to run.
Had Josh had all 4 clicks, I would even just ignore Archives.
Yeah, and just click through it. Yeah, it's worth a turn to blow up an Itchy and get an access.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a CVS, though. Okay, so it makes him spend another card, and it's free because of Breaker Bay. So this is 4 cards. And then he'll likely have to jack out before hitting the Architect.
And a click. So 3 cards and a click.
3 cards and a click also works.
That seems like a good play. But yeah, he's got to jack out. He only has 2 cards left.
Yep, and without the Data Suckers. So actually, the Data Suckers end up mattering quite a bit there.
All right, good play, Sean. I was skeptical of the 2 counter purge, but...
Yeah.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and that's you end up finding yourself doing that quite a bit, I would say, with the CVS, is you use it as just like, I need to keep him out for this one turn. You know, in a perfect world, it's doing something bigger, but who does he score? Oh, no, that was Jackson. Okay, so that was just a bluff.
Interesting. What's he grabbing? Ice? Oh, Jackson.
Jackson. You definitely want CVS to... Oh, no, we haven't seen CVS. No, CVS is there, so you definitely want that to stay there so that he can't recharge data suckers. Hedge fund. And Eli. Yep, get the ice back that's been destroyed. Get some money back. Deck looking a little slim.
Yeah. But, I mean, maybe most notably, other than... Jackson's big, but 2 non-trashable cards.
That is also true.
And he's got to be throwing down the global food here.
Yeah, you've got to go for it pretty soon.
This is it? Yeah, that's it. Get his credit. Advance twice.
Yeah, okay, so this is the game.
So...
Okay, so what are Josh's options here?
I mean, he only has 3 clicks. He realistically can't get into that server.
No.
And I'm going to go ahead and assume... If I was in Josh's situation, I would assume Sean does not have an agenda in hand.
Right.
So he's in a tough place. However, Architect, not a huge deal right now. If he's got a medium in hand, he's in good shape.
Yeah.
Because he throws down the medium, runs twice. That might end up being 3 cards. That could be enough.
Yeah, so we'll need to see 2 agendas. We know there's 5 on the table. So there's another 4 in the deck. Okay, but he runs the remote.
Interesting.
Huh.
I mean,
I guess he doesn't know what that top ice is.
Yeah.
So he's thinking it could be just junk.
It's true. But sadly,
Ichi,
it is not.
It's Ichi. So this is to me, this looks like it's probably the game.
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
there's not much you can do against this here.
He does have a clone chip on the board.
Yeah.
He can let it trash, and then he could run R&D twice, hope the next 2 cards are agendas.
Yeah, I mean, that's a way.
If I were, I mean, that's what you have to do, I think.
Yeah.
But with the brain damage, you probably wouldn't have enough cards to break it twice.
Yeah.
And you're not going to steal 3 points.
Access to, there's nothing that he can grab out of archives that can help him with this because he needs the clone chip for David if he's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
So I think you just have to let it fire. Yep, and it does. And then you have to decide whether you think it's in HQ. So HQ probably isn't good enough.
Well, here's the thing. He's got 2 clicks left. Probably only enough cards to hit R&D once. The question is, do you hit R&D once first and then HQ, or the other order? HQ, if there is an agenda in there, it might force Sean to res a piece of ice. Granted.
Yeah, because he does need 3 credits to actually score the agenda.
He hits HQ first.
And he's like, we're likely going to see no reses here.
Does he snipe it? I don't even know if there's one in there.
I don't know if there's there. Ooh.
No luck.
Archive memories. And so last click, do you go...
Just hit R&D.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you've lost, essentially.
You got to... At this point, I go, okay, I got to play as if Sean is bluffing.
Yeah, that's just another 3-2 or a 4-2 or something.
So is running R&D here actually the most advantageous? It might not be.
Yeah, because assuming, that is not the game in the remote, you're giving him, on the last click especially, you're giving him potentially just a free agenda or something. So I think HQ is probably the play. In case there's one floating that maybe he was just planning on chaining through after the one that's in the remote.
True.
And it's still archive memories. So now we see, is that global food? And it is. And that's the game.
Wow, well played.
Ooh, tough today. It was looking rough in the early game, but Sean, money's up, remote's up. Powers through.
He played it smart.
Yeah.
The temptation against Whizzard is to rush out.
Yes.
But in this case, it's just he locked him down. So that's how he played it. It worked out.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh played very smart as well. He just... I think it was just a challenge keeping up. The early Architect...
Yeah,
we kind of forget, but that turn 1 Architect was really a big thing.
Yeah, it started the remote. It got something up that Josh had to then go trash immediately after.
Yeah, he was just... There were a couple moments where I felt like Josh had the upper hand, but in general, Sean just was, in terms of ice placement, a little bit ahead, which is very mean, that's what you got to do.
Yeah. All right, so Sean takes the victory. He's moving along in the winners bracket. Josh will bump on down to the losers bracket of the top 4, where we'll be seeing his next game coming up shortly. So thanks for watching.
See you next time.